While inspecting my company's cold chain operations, my wife, Mandy Snow, and the college boy I'd been sponsoring suddenly vanished. As I passed the cabinet storing the research supplies, a stream of floating comments suddenly flashed before my eyes. That was way too close. Jeff Miller almost caught them. Good thing Mandy reacted fast and dragged her boy toy into the storage cabinet. But that cabinet is about to be locked up and shipped to the Antarctic Research Station. Are those two trying to turn themselves into ice sculptures? I froze. My wife was cheating on me right under my nose. I was just about to pull open the cabinet door when my wife's assistant hurried over and forced a smile, blocking my way. Mr. Miller, the seal on this cabinet was just waxed and hasn't dried yet. Careful, or you'll get your hands dirty. Looking at the comments in front of me, I let out a cold laugh. These are critical supplies for the research team. To make sure nothing goes wrong, seal the cabinet right now. Go get a welder. Weld the door shut. Patrick's face turned pale. He spread his arms wide and blocked the cabinet door. Mr. Miller, you can't do this. Ms. Snow hasn't signed off on the inspection yet. This isn't proper procedure. I looked coldly at the beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. I'm the chairman of the Miller Group. It's my cargo. I don't need an outsider to sign off on it. I gave the bodyguards behind me a look. Two burly men immediately stepped forward and dragged Patrick away. The engineering crew clearly only took orders from me. They stepped forward quickly and pulled down their protective masks. Sparks from the welding torch burst along the seam of the cabinet door, lighting up the dim harbor in flashes of orange. Almost at the same moment, violent banging came from inside the container. Unfortunately for them, the specialized freezer container was built for long-distance shipping. Its soundproofing was excellent. Under the crackling of the welding torch, it was barely noticeable. I calmly took out my phone and called my father-in-law. Dad, the big surprise Mandy prepared for you is at the harbor. You might want to bring the media and come take a look. On the other end, my father-in-law's sharp voice came through. A surprise? What kind of good intentions could you possibly have? You're nothing like that boy Jonas Leiden. Such a thoughtful kid. Just a few days ago, he even made me smoothie himself. Hearing the name Jonas, my grip on the phone tightened slightly. Jonas Leiden, the college kid I'd sponsored for 4 years. I paid for his tuition, brought him into the Miller Group, and showed him the world. Instead, I had raised a snake that would bite its master. Dad, you're right, I said, forcing down the nausea rising in my throat. Jonas really is a good kid. That's why Mandy made sure to invite him too. She said this gift was prepared by the two of them together. You have to be there to unveil it yourself. The moment he heard Jonas was involved, my father-in-law's tone changed immediately. Well then, since it's Mandy's way of showing filial respect, I suppose I'll make the trip. After hanging up, I turned to the operator at the control panel. Start the pre-cooling system. The trip to Antarctica is long. The internal temperature needs to be lowered to minus 20 degrees first. Switch it to preservation mode. The operator hesitated. Mr. Miller, shouldn't we check what's inside first? My gaze turned sharp. Didn't you hear what I said? The cargo inside is extremely valuable. If we don't lower the temperature immediately, it'll spoil. The massive compressors roared to life. On the temperature display outside the container, the bright red numbers began dropping rapidly. 25 degrees Celsius, 15 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Celsius. Patrick, who had been thrown to the side earlier, stared at the falling temperature on the display. He collapsed onto the ground, struggling desperately, but a security guard clamped a hand over his mouth. Inside the container, the pounding grew even more violent. But with the thunderous roar of the compressors, it all blended into what sounded like ordinary mechanical vibration. I dragged a chair over and sat down gracefully in front of the container. On my phone was the last message Jonas had ever sent me. Jeff, thank you for supporting me all these years. I'll repay you someday. Repay me? Then repay me with your life. Half an hour later, several luxury cars sped into the harbor and screeched to a stop. My father-in-law stepped out wearing an elegant jacket, followed by several financial reporters. Jeff, where's Mandy? I stood up at once, looking troubled. Dad, Mandy said she went to prepare the final part of your surprise gift. She asked me to keep an eye on